You are the master of your fate. Let's begin. Your voice. It's more than just sound. It is your intellectual signature. It is the immediate, undeniable mark of your authority, your presence, and your power to connect and persuade. Are you speaking with the clarity and influence you deserve? The greatest minds in history understood that knowledge alone is not power. The true power lies in the ability to communicate that knowledge effectively. Yet so many brilliant ideas, so much potential, gets lost in hesitation, weak language, and a lack of confidence. It gets lost because the speaker fails to master the fundamental psychology of powerful communication. I spent my life studying the titans of industry, the quiet achievers, the people who commanded attention without shouting. And I can tell you, the secret is not in using complex words or memorizing a script. It's in mastering a precise set of principles. In this comprehensive guide, I will give you a blueprint for intelligent communication. We will dismantle the psychological barriers and build a framework for powerful speech, covering everything from the science of clarity and conciseness to the hidden power of tone and pauses, to the habits that separate a confident leader from a quiet follower. This is not a lesson on simply talking. This is a masterclass in influence. This is your command to speak smart. Let's begin. The first and most vital pillar of powerful communication is not your vocabulary or your wit. It is clarity. Intelligent communication prioritizes a clear, direct message. You must understand this. The human mind is wired for efficiency. Our brains instinctively favor what is easy to process. This is a cognitive principle known as fluency. When your message is simple, direct, and easy to understand, the listener's brain experiences a feeling of ease. It is a psychological shortcut that leads to a feeling of trust, credibility, and authority. When you speak in a way that is vague, complex, or disorganized, you force the listener to do hard mental work. This work creates friction, and that friction is perceived as weakness or a lack of understanding on your part. Think of it like this. Vague language is a muddy river. It's difficult to see through, and it slows you down. Clear language is a transparent stream. It flows effortlessly and reveals everything you need to see. To master this, you must apply 3 simple, deliberate strategies. 1. The one-sentence test, the practice. Before you speak, ask yourself, can I articulate my entire point in one single, clear sentence? The power. This forces you to define your core message. If you cannot pass this test, you do not have a clear message. You must refine your thought first, before you even open your mouth. 2. Structure for simplicity, the practice. Your thoughts must have a predictable structure. A powerful and simple structure is point, evidence, explanation. State your point directly. Provide the evidence to support it. Then, explain what that evidence means. The power. This framework makes your thought process logical and easy for your audience to follow, reducing their mental effort and increasing your credibility. 3. Eliminate jargon and weak language, the practice. Stop using complex words to sound intelligent. True intelligence lies in making complex ideas simple. Eliminate phrases like, I think, I guess, or maybe. The power, jargon, and weak language are a shield for a lack of genuine understanding. Precise, direct language is a hallmark of a confident and knowledgeable mind. Clarity is not a style, it is a discipline. It is the foundation upon which all other communication skills are built. A clear speaker is perceived as a confident, knowledgeable, and reliable thinker. But a clear message, delivered without a strong structure, is still just a collection of great ideas. The true power lies in organizing your thoughts for maximum impact. That is your next lesson. Clarity is the foundation, but a clear message, delivered without a strong structure, is still just a collection of great ideas. The true power lies in organizing your thoughts for maximum impact. The human mind is a navigator. It constantly searches for a map. When you provide a clear structure, you reduce the cognitive load on your listener. You make it easy for them to follow your train of thought, remember your key points, and ultimately agree with your conclusion. An unstructured message is a pile of loose papers. It's frustrating and difficult to process. A structured message is a well-organized file cabinet. It's efficient and inspires confidence. To master this, you must become the architect of your own thoughts. Use these 3 strategic tools. 1. Utilize frameworks, the practice. Don't just speak off the top of your head. Use a simple, proven framework to build your message. The problem solution. Framework is incredibly powerful. The past, present, future framework is great for vision and leadership. The power. These frameworks provide a mental roadmap. They give your audience a clear expectation of where you are going, making your message far more persuasive than memorable. Employ signposting language. The practice. Use verbal markers to guide your listener. Phrases like firstly, secondly, finally, or to summarize are your navigational signals. The power. This keeps your audience from getting lost. It tells them exactly where you are in your argument and prepares them for what's coming next, making your communication feel controlled and authoritative. 3. Create clear transitions and summaries. The practice. As you move from one idea to the next, create a smooth bridge. At the end of a long explanation, briefly summarize your key point before moving on. The power. Abruptly shifting topics causes mental whiplash. Smooth transitions and short summaries reinforce your message, solidify your argument, and make you appear more thoughtful and in command. A person who speaks with structure is perceived as a person who thinks with structure. They are seen as reliable, organized, and most importantly, as a leader. But even a perfectly structured message can fall flat if the delivery is weak. The most powerful communication is often not what you say, but how you say it. That is your next lesson. You now know the importance of clarity and structure, but even a perfectly structured message can fall flat if the delivery is weak. The most powerful communication is often not what you say, but how you say it. The human mind is constantly listening to your unspoken language, your tone, your pace, and your pauses. It is looking for cues of confidence, of certainty, of emotion. This is a psychological principle known as emotional contagion. Your audience unconsciously mirrors your energy. A confident, modulated voice breeds confidence in your message. A nervous or monotone voice breeds doubt and disinterest. Think of yourself as a conductor and your voice as the orchestra. You have instruments of tone, pace, and rhythm. You must learn to play them masterfully to captivate your audience. To master this, you must apply 3 deliberate strategies. 1. Cultivate a confident and modulated tone, the practice. Speak from your chest, not from your throat. A deeper, more resonant voice projects authority. Vary your pitch to avoid a monotone. Raise your voice to express excitement. Lower it for gravity. The power. This keeps your audience engaged and prevents your voice from becoming an anesthetic. It signals confidence and control. 2. Vary your pace for emphasis. The practice. Slow down when you are making a critical point. A slow, deliberate pace gives your words weight and allows your audience to absorb them. Speed up slightly for less critical information to build momentum. The power. This creates a rhythm that holds attention and tells your audience, without you saying a word, what is most important. 3. Use strategic pauses. The practice. This is perhaps the most powerful tool of all. A pause after a key statement allows it to land, giving it time to sink in. A pause before a crucial point builds suspense, and a pause in place of a filler word like or projects poise and control. The power. Pauses are the most underrated tool in communication. They command attention, signal authority, and make you appear thoughtful, not hesitant. Mastery of tone, pace, and pauses is the mark of a true orator. It is what separates a speaker who simply talks from a speaker who truly influences. But even with these tools, your communication can be undermined by noise. That noise is the constant clutter of filler words and weak language. That is your next lesson. You now understand how tone, pace, and pauses can give your words power. But even with these tools, your communication can be undermined by internal noise. That noise is the constant clutter of filler words and weak language that dilutes your message and signals a lack of confidence. I tell you, precise and deliberate language projects competence and authority. The human mind is highly attuned to these subtle signals. Filler words like and you know are perceived by your audience as hesitation, as if you are searching for the right thought. Weak qualifiers like I think, maybe, or sort of make your message sound like a suggestion, not a conviction. Think of yourself as a sculptor. A master sculptor carves away the excess to reveal the masterpiece. A poor communicator adds unnecessary clay, obscuring the masterpiece. To banish the noise and speak with deliberate precision, you must apply 3 deliberate strategies. 1. Identify your personal noise, the practice. The first step is awareness. Record yourself speaking for a few minutes. Listen back specifically for your filler words, your personal or like. The power. You cannot eliminate an enemy you do not recognize. Identifying your specific weaknesses is the first step to conquering them. 2. Practice the power of silence, the practice. This is a critical habit. The next time you feel the urge to say or ooh, stop. Instead, use a conscious, deliberate pause. The power. This reinforces the lesson from the previous section. A pause projects poise and thoughtfulness, while a filler word projects hesitation. A moment of silence is far more powerful than a moment of noise. 3. Eliminate weak qualifiers, the practice. Review your speech for phrases like, I think, I believe, or I guess. Replace them with strong, direct statements. Instead of, I think we should do this, say, we should do this. The power, strong, direct language commands attention and projects unshakable conviction. It forces you to stand behind your words, which in turn makes you more persuasive and confident. This practice is not about becoming a perfect speaker overnight. It is a discipline. And in practicing this discipline, you will not only speak with more authority, but you will also begin to think with more authority, building a reputation for intellectual sharpness. But the final piece of the puzzle is not just in your words, but in your entire presence. Your body language, your eye contact, your confidence, all of it speaks for you. That is your next lesson. You've learned how to craft a message with clarity and structure. You've learned to deliver it with powerful tone and precision. But even with these tools, your communication can be undermined by your very presence. The final and most powerful layer of influence is not in your words, but in your body language, your eye contact, and your poise. I tell you, authentic confidence is the single most persuasive force in communication. The human mind is hardwired to read these nonverbal cues. We instinctively look for signs of trust and authority. When you project self-assuredness, you become an anchor in a storm of ideas, and people will naturally gravitate towards you. This is a psychological principle known as social proof. We are more likely to be influenced by those who appear certain. To master this, you must apply 3 deliberate strategies. 1. Maintain steady eye contact, the practice. Look your audience, or the person you are speaking to, directly in the eyes. If you are speaking to a group, scan the room, making a connection with individuals. The power. Direct eye contact is the ultimate signal of honesty, confidence, and conviction. Looking away is instinctively perceived as nervousness or deception. Your eyes are a direct line to your soul, and you must use them to project certainty. 2. Adopt open and confident body language. The practice. Stand or sit with a straight back and your shoulders relaxed. Keep your hands visible and your posture open. Avoid fidgeting, crossing your arms, or touching your face. The power. Your body language is a constant broadcast. An open posture signals that you are receptive and in control. Fidgeting signals anxiety and a lack of conviction, no matter how confident your words may be. 3. Connect with authenticity, the practice. True presence is not about arrogance. It is about a genuine, centered calm. Your goal is to not only project confidence, but to be authentic. Let your genuine passion and emotion come through in your expressions. The power. Authenticity is the bridge to rapport. When your confidence is paired with genuine emotion, you build trust and become relatable. This combination is the ultimate form of influence. Mastery of your presence is the final piece of your intellectual armor. It is what elevates your words from a simple speech to a command that inspires. But there is one final subtle art that separates the good communicator from the great. It is the ability to not just speak, but to connect on an emotional and human level. That is your next lesson. You now have the full set of tools for powerful delivery. You have the clarity of your message, the structure of your argument, the power of your voice, and the poise of your presence. But there is one final subtle art that separates the good communicator from the great. It is the ability to not just speak, but to connect on an emotional and human level. I tell you, the most persuasive communication is not about what you want to say, it's about what your audience needs to hear. This is the domain of emotional intelligence. A great communicator is not a one-way broadcaster. They are a two-way conduit of understanding. They listen with the intent to understand, not to reply. Think of a master chess player. They don't just focus on their own moves. They constantly anticipate and respond to the opponent's strategy. A master communicator does the same. They are always reading the emotional landscape of the room, tailoring their message in real time. To master this, you must apply 3 deliberate strategies. 1. Practice active listening. The practice. Listening is not just waiting for your turn to speak. It is listening with a genuine intent to understand. Put away distractions. Maintain eye contact. Ask clarifying questions. The power. This builds rapport and trust. When people feel heard, they are far more receptive to your message. Your willingness to listen is a powerful form of respect. 2. Tailor your message to your audience. The practice. The same message must be delivered differently to a CEO versus a new employee, to a skeptic versus a believer. Adapt your language, your examples, and your focus to their specific needs, values, and level of understanding. The power. A tailored message resonates. It shows your audience that you understand them, which makes your communication far more relevant and persuasive. 3. Recognize and respond to emotional cues. The practice. Pay close attention to the nonverbal signals in the room, the subtle shifts in body language, the facial expressions, the vocal tones. Are they confused? Are they excited? Are they skeptical? The power, the ability to read these cues allows you to adjust your message in real time. You can pause to ask for clarification, change your tone to match the mood, or pivot to address a concern before it is even spoken. Mastery of emotional intelligence in communication is the mark of a true leader. It is what transforms a speaker who delivers a monologue into a leader who forges a connection. But to truly move people, to drive action, you need one final weapon in your arsenal. You need to know how to use the power of story and persuasion. That is your next lesson. You now know how to build a message with clarity, structure, and emotional intelligence. But to truly move people, to drive action, to leave a lasting mark on their minds, you need one final weapon in your arsenal. You need to know how to use the power of story and persuasion. Facts tell, but stories sell. People don't remember data, they remember narratives. The human brain is not a processor of information, it is a processor of meaning. A compelling story can bypass a listener's rational defenses and plant an idea deep within their subconscious mind. This is a psychological principle known as narrative transportation. Your words have the power to transport your audience into a new reality, where your idea is the central truth. Think of a master architect. They don't just present a blueprint of a house. They tell you a story about the life that will be lived in that house, the family dinners, the children playing, the quiet mornings. They don't sell a building, they sell a dream. To master this, you must apply 3 deliberate strategies. 1. Structure your message with a story, the practice. Every message can be a narrative. Begin with the current status quo, the problem. Introduce a conflict, why the problem is a threat, and then offer your solution as the triumphant resolution. The power. This creates a predictable and engaging journey for your audience. They become emotionally invested in the problem, which makes them far more receptive to your solution. 2. Use analogies and metaphors, the practice. These are your most powerful tools for simplifying complex ideas. Instead of explaining a new system in technical terms, compare it to a familiar process, like a factory assembly line or a well-oiled machine. The power. An analogy is a mini-story that makes an abstract concept instantly relatable and understandable. It builds a bridge from the known to the unknown. 3. Employ persuasive techniques, ethically. The practice. Use principles of influence with honesty and integrity. Frame your idea in terms of what your audience stands to gain. Use testimonials or data to create a sense of social proof. Speak with the authority of your research and expertise. The power. Persuasion is not manipulation. It is the art of showing people why your idea is in their best interest and why it is the right and inevitable choice. Mastery of story and persuasion is the final, most powerful weapon in your arsenal. It is what allows you to not just communicate your ideas, but to ignite action and shape the future. But all of these skills are worthless without consistent practice. The final piece of your intellectual armor is the daily discipline that separates the great communicators from the rest. That is your next lesson. You now possess the full blueprint for powerful communication. You have the knowledge of clarity, structure, tone, presence, and persuasion, but knowledge without action is dormant potential. The master communicator is not born. They are forged through deliberate daily discipline. All the great communicators I ever studied shared a common trait. They approached communication not as a natural talent, but as a skill to be honed with relentless, consistent practice. This is a psychological principle known as deliberate practice, a conscious, focused effort to improve a specific skill. It is not about wishing, it is about doing. Think of it like this. An Olympic athlete does not become a champion by simply understanding the rules of their sport. They become a champion through the thousands of hours of conscious, focused repetition. Your voice is your instrument, and you must practice it daily. To build this discipline, you must apply 3 deliberate habits. 1. Practice in all settings, the practice. Do not reserve your smart communication for important meetings or presentations. Practice clarity, structure, and poise in your daily conversations, in your emails, and on the phone. The power. Repetition in low-stakes environments builds a powerful subconscious habit that will serve you automatically when the stakes are high. 2. Record and analyze yourself, the practice. Make this a non-negotiable habit. Record your speech, whether it's a practice presentation or a simple conversation. The power. This is the most objective way to see your flaws and your progress. You will hear your filler words, see your weak posture, and identify the areas where you need to improve. 3. Seek feedback and observe the practice. Find a trusted mentor or a mastermind partner, and ask for honest, constructive criticism on your communication, and always be a student. Listen to and observe great speakers, not just what they say, but how they say it. The power. Feedback is a gift. It reveals your blind spots and accelerates your progress. Constant learning ensures that your skills never stagnate. The path to becoming a powerful communicator is not a sprint. It is a journey of disciplined daily effort. It is a choice you make every time you open your mouth. You now have the full blueprint. In our final section, I will give you one last powerful word of encouragement and the final call to action to begin this transformative work today. You have now completed a profound journey into the core psychology of powerful communication. You've bravely dismantled the myths, committed to the discipline of clarity and structure, learned to command with your tone and your presence, and, most importantly, begun to understand that true influence comes from a place of emotional intelligence and authentic connection. The ultimate success belongs not to the one who has the most knowledge, but to the one who can communicate that knowledge with the most power and conviction. Understand this truth deeply. The voice you possess is a lever of influence. How you speak determines how people see you and how they respond. You possess the power right now to cultivate an unbreakable voice that will serve you in every aspect of your life. Your words can build bridges, ignite action, and inspire a following. In a world filled with noisy, unclear chatter, you now possess a rare and profound advantage. You have chosen the path of intentional communication, the deliberate construction of an identity that commands respect and inspires trust. Stop speaking without a plan. Structure your thoughts for maximum impact. Stop letting filler words signal hesitation. Use the power of the pause. Stop communicating to talk. Communicate to connect, to influence, and to lead. The ideas you hold, the vision you've imagined, the profound impact you wish to make, all of it now demands your consistent, unwavering voice. It demands that you take command of your words, trust in your own presence, and speak with deliberate intention day by day. Do not let a lack of skill dilute your genius. Forge a powerful voice. Speak with purpose. For in mastering how you communicate, you are not only shaping your career, but you are also forging a presence that will be your greatest asset for the rest of your life. Your unstoppable voice awaits. Remember, your success begins the moment you decide to act.